CIA Director under President Clinton, Ambassador James Woolsey. Ambassador Woolsey, good to have you on. I have to begin here with the breaking news. Until just a few moments ago, you were advising Donald Trump. I was going to introduce you as an advisor to Donald Trump. You are now a former. Why?
Well, I didn't want to fly under false colors. I've been an advisor and felt that I was making a contribution, and I strongly support Mr. Trump for president, did since early September, and I wish him well, but I'm not really functioning as an advisor anymore. And so when I'm on the screen, everybody announces that I'm former CIA director and that I'm a Trump advisor, and I'm really not anymore. So I just thought I should strike that from the chyron, or what, as it comes up on the screen, so nobody was under false impressions. That's all.
And when did you stop advising him? Was there a point where you stopped talking to him?
I don't think there was a particular point. I've only seen him in person a couple of times, talked on the phone a little bit, so I was not at the center of the advisory function, but I was pleased to be included, and I just felt like things had come to the point that I ought to make sure that nobody gets a false impression. I didn't want to be claiming that I'm something I'm not.
Well, when you say things had gotten to the point, I mean, you're the one making this decision, right? You decided late today. I didn't say anything to you. He didn't ask you to leave. No one in the Trump transition. This is just you.
All I mean is that by that is that the selections have largely been made. My background in defense and national security and intelligence, I think, is probably not relevant to more decisions that need to be made in the next couple of weeks. A new world starts over again when the candidate now, or president-select, becomes president, is sworn in on the January 20th. So, but for now, I don't want people to get the impression that I'm claiming to be something I'm not. That's all.
I'm just trying to understand, because, you know, you have come out, Ambassador, on this show and others, and you have said things that don't necessarily, you know, jibe with what Donald Trump said, specifically on this most recent issue of Russia's responsibility for hacking the U.S. election. Donald Trump does not admit this. James Clapper today said that there are many in the intelligence community, they perceive this as disparaging of the community. A former chief of staff for Leon Panetta, also a former CIA director, told me this could lead to a national security crisis. Intel tonight, you heard Pamela Brown. The U.S. Intel says they now know the identities of the very Russians who actually leaked the information to Julian Assange at WikiLeaks. Donald Trump does not admit to any of this. In fact, he's citing Julian Assange. It's part of your leaving because you're frustrated with him?
No. That latter point about the in-betweens, the middlemen for the Russians, is a new find, I think, within the last day or so. To me, that's extremely important. And I think that once they've got the identity of some of these people, I think that makes it clear that it was more or less centrally orchestrated rather than somewhat more disheveled, as I was characterizing it up until a couple of days ago. I think the Russians have been involved in one way or another, but it looks now from this most recent announcement as if it was more in a control mode than just a participation mode. So
is it time for Trump to say, okay, uncle?
When I was advising him, I didn't tell anyone what I communicated, and I've worked for 4 presidents, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats. I've never told anyone what I said to them or they said to me, and I'm not going to start now.
So the Vice President today, Joe Biden, was asked to weigh in on Donald Trump, how he's handled things, right? And you've been on this show and others, right, whether it's national security or other things, and I would say to you, Ambassador Woolsey, here's what Donald Trump just tweeted, and you would be put into the frankly sometimes awkward position of having to explain or defend what he said. Today, Joe Biden, when asked to weigh in on Trump's tweets, including ones insulting Chuck Schumer, where he called him clown in recent days, and President Obama, here's what Joe Biden said.
Grow up, Donald. Grow up. Time to be an adult. You're president. You got to do something. Show us what you have. You're going to propose it in legislation. We're going to get to debate it. Let the public decide. Let them vote in Congress. Let's see what happens.
Grow up, Donald, he said. Does Trump need to grow up? Do you share that feeling?
I wouldn't put it that way, no. He has a very different demeanor when he's talking to a couple of three people. It's very reasonable and quite ordinary, normal, smart, good questions, good answers. When he gets in front of 50,000 shouting millennials, he goes into a rather fascinating mode, and I call it his shtick. But that, that's not something that an advisor or even a citizen, I think, ought to say, you have to behave this way, Mr. Trump, not that way. It's his call, not mine.
All right. Well, Ambassador Woolsey, I appreciate your time, and thank you so much.
Good to be with you.